I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us here in Closing Arguments. We begin tonight, which is a big night here on Court TV, with some breaking news. And this is huge, huge. If you just got in, sit down. We got a lot to tell you. First, let me show you a picture. Chad and Lori Daybell. There they are, smiling in their mugshots. My bet is they are not smiling tonight, folks, because the grand jury has come back with an indictment, and that indictment is for the deaths of these three people: Tylee, JJ, and Tammy, the children of Lori and the wife of Chad. It's taken a while to get here, folks. It's a long road. You know how complicated this story is. You know how bizarre some of the behavior's been. It's taking place in not just Idaho, but there's connections to Arizona and Hawaii. The FBI investigating. You know how far-reaching this story is. But tonight, the big news is, finally, someone has been charged with murder. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, who's been on this story for a long time. She's the one that broke the news about the grand jury. She's the one who broke the news today about the indictments. So, Chanley, for folks just getting home tonight, they're all sitting down. What happened?
Well, yes, we exclusively broke the news about the grand jury being impaneled last week in Fremont County, Idaho. As a result of that, prosecutors from Fremont County and Madison County, who partnered on this investigation for a year and a half, announced a 9-count indictment against Chad and Lori Daybell. Let's take a look at the new charges they are facing as of today. First, let's look at both Chad and Lori, what they're facing together. They're facing conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the death of Tylee Ryan. First-degree murder for the death of Tylee Ryan. Another conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the death of JJ Vallow, and first-degree murder for the death of JJ Vallow. Also facing conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the death of Tammy Daybell. Just Chad Daybell alone is facing first-degree murder in the death of his wife, Tammy Daybell, plus 2 counts of insurance fraud related to a life insurance policy that he had on Tammy Daybell, his wife. Lori Daybell alone is facing 1 count of grand theft. That's related to Social Security survivor benefits, over $1,000, after her minor children, Tylee and JJ, disappeared. According to the indictment, which I have in my hands, Vinny, right here, is about 4 to 5 months she collected on that Social Security.
This is an incredible development, a huge development, and I think it's one a lot of people have been waiting for. But, you know, we've seen investigations before, but this one is so expansive and so layered and complicated, involving a lot of people, also involving some bizarre behavior. And we've reported on much of it. But what specifically are they saying? And I'm very curious about this, because this is the one area that's been probably the most closely guarded by investigators, which is the death of Tammy Daybell. What exactly have they laid out in what they have released publicly about the death of Tammy Daybell, the prosecution theory here?
Yeah, a lot of new revelations about the investigation into the death of Tammy Daybell that we did not know before, because you are correct. It was first investigated by the Attorney General's office. It was handed down to the local level in February of this year, where the new prosecutor took over. That's when we learned the autopsy results of Tammy Daybell, who passed away October 2019. Autopsy 2 months later after she was exhumed. Now we're learning today that the conclusions of that autopsy, the manner of death, homicide, and in the charges in this indictment, several pages long, the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Tammy Daybell. You have to prove as a prosecutor 1 or more overt acts to prove a conspiracy, and some of these overt acts are pretty revolutionary. Let's look at some of these outlined in the indictment for this count against Tammy Daybell. It says that there were text messages between Chad and Lori regarding death percentages for Tammy and JJ, and on July 30th of 2019. Remember, she doesn't pass away till October, but they're looking at what life insurance, possibly percentages they could get from Tammy and JJ. It also goes on to say Chad Daybell obtained a burner phone on September 18th, 2019. Also, text messages between Chad and Lori about Tammy Daybell being in limbo and Tammy being possessed by a spirit named Viola, or Viola, however you want to pronounce that one. On September 8, 2019, Chad Daybell signed an application along with Tammy to increase her life insurance to the maximum allowed under her policy. Again, she passes away in October of 2019. It also says Alex Cox attempted to shoot Tammy Daybell on October 9th, 2019. Now we know for sure. Prosecutors believe that masked man that Tammy Daybell posted about with the paintball gun, that was Alex Cox on October 9th. Also, it goes on to say Alex, he went to the gun range in the months before October 9th, 2019, when he attempted to shoot Tammy Daybell. Those are just some of the overt acts being revealed in this several-page long indictment outlining the 9 counts that they now face and more revelations about the death and what prosecutors think they have to prove conspiracy here for the death of Tammy Daybell, Vinny.
This is unreal. And, you know, there were pieces and we're like, okay, yeah, someone was shooting a paint gun at her. No, we all suspected it was Alex Cox, and prosecutors, investigators believe it is as well. So does it get into any details specifically about Tammy's death? Do they believe that Chad Daybell himself is the one who killed her, who murdered her? Do they believe Alex Cox was in the house? How exactly do they believe, or do they say in these documents?
Well, it's interesting that only Chad Daybell faces the first-degree murder charge against his wife, Tammy Daybell. The conspiracy, on all the conspiracies for all 3, Tylee, JJ, and Tammy, the co-conspirators are Chad, Lori, and Alex Cox, now deceased, Lori's brother. But this is for Chad alone, and it's outlined first-degree murder here, that it's also, I need to point out, I guess, clarify that these first-degree murder counts are multifaceted, if you will. They're charged as premeditated murder, but it could also be a part of a scheme or plan. The way that it's worded here, Vinny, it could be aiding and abetting or assisting in the killing of either of these, but here let's take Tammy Daybell. Or it did encourage the killing of Tammy Daybell, or did command another to kill Tammy Daybell. So there's several different approaches here under the law in Idaho for this first-degree murder count. So that's interesting language to me, but it's also clear that only Chad Daybell is facing this first-degree murder count, unlike the other counts of Tylee and JJ, where both Lori and Chad are facing first-degree murder.
And are there any more specifics on how they believe that was carried out, the murders of those 2 children?
Well, there are some overt acts that we've seen before. Remember, they already faced conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment in the remains of Tylee and JJ, which were discovered almost a year ago, June 9th, on Chad Daybell's property. But we're learning also that there were some new facts about Chad Daybell around the time that Tylee Ryan went missing and prosecutors suspect that she was murdered, that Chad Daybell Googled SSW wind, or the wind direction to be exact, that day. Remember, she's alleged to have been murdered, burnt, dismembered, and maybe there was a possible fire that he put together. He's searching wind direction on the day that she is said to have disappeared and been murdered. So that was another interesting overt act that we hadn't really learned before. But again, there was a reason that these prosecutors chose the grand jury route to indict on murder as opposed to how they pursued the destruction, alteration, concealment charges against Chad, and we had that very public preliminary hearing. Remember, we were live, we covered all of that. Here they want to protect a lot of their evidence with the secret grand jury proceeding, and now that they have been indicted, it moves virtually almost automatically up to the district court level there in Idaho. They do have an initial appearance tomorrow morning, both of them virtually, and then in 30 days it would be formally moved up to the district court level. So again, even though this is quite revealing in their evidence, Vinny, it's still not fully exposing all of the evidence and details that they think what happened to Tylee, JJ, and Tammy Daybell.
Unbelievable. Today, is today JJ's birthday?
Yes, it is. And I don't know if that was a coincidence or purposeful, but today is JJ Vallow's birthday. He would have been 9 years old today, Vinny, if he hadn't been taken all too soon. And maybe it wasn't mentioned in their press conference today, but that probably had to be on their mind, that today would have been his birthday, almost the 1 year that their remains were found in the backyard. And likely, you know, they said there was COVID-19 restrictions. They really couldn't impanel a grand jury before now, and that probably had something to do with it. But definitely symbolic today, right? That this would, his mother would be charged with his murder and his sister's murder on his birthday.
And let's not forget that when he went missing, JJ, it was his grandparents who were concerned and worried. And that's how this entire investigation began. Because JJ went missing, and then the layers started coming and peeling back, and you find out all these other people that are dead. Tylee is gone. Alex Cox in that picture, killed Charles Vallow, but he's dead now too. And then we learned about Tammy's death, and you put it all together. But it all started with little JJ and his grandparents who love him so, so much. Prosecutor had a press conference today. I want to play a little bit for everybody. Here's Lindsay Blake. She's the Fremont County prosecutor.
Members of the grand jury deliberated and determined there is probable cause to believe the Daybells willfully and knowingly conspired to commit several crimes that led to the death of 3 innocent people.
All right, so as we sit here tonight, do we believe that this will be one trial for all these charges and they'll be tried together?
Likely they are joined now in the conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, concealment. The latest hearing, Chad Daybell's attorney did tell the judge he was going to file a motion to sever those counts. So that's probably what we will see. They filed the indictment jointly for both Chad and Lori. So it seems as though they're joint for these counts, and also those other felonies they face will probably roll into this and all be in one case, Vinny. But I'm sure we can anticipate that the defense attorneys will try to sever the cases, as Chad Daybell's attorney did indicate. Also, it's interesting with these murder charges, conspiracy to commit murder, that in Idaho is punishable, Vinny, by the death penalty. So these prosecutors have 60 days to file a notice of intent on whether or not to pursue the death penalty in this case. And they didn't reveal today if they would or not.
That's a tough decision. But when you think about what happened here, this is bad. You're talking about destroying families, killing children, an innocent wife and mother, and everything else in the allegations. They're presumed innocent, but these are the allegations. So you got to, I think they're going to have to think long and hard about considering the death penalty. Absolutely, in this case. Let's listen to more from today's press conference.
The penalty for the most serious charges range from life in prison without the possibility of parole to the death penalty. We will not be disclosing further information about what penalties we will pursue for these charges. By law, however, we must make a decision and inform the defendants on whether we will pursue the death penalty within 60 days after the defendant's first entry of a plea. We know you have a lot of questions, but at this time we will not be taking questions while the matter is pending. Rob and I have a legal and ethical obligation to protect the defendant's rights to a fair trial. We take this obligation seriously, and we will continue to balance the public's interest in this matter with our legal, ethical obligations, including our responsibility to protect the integrity of the facts and evidence and minimizing unnecessary and erroneous publicity. This investigation is far from over, so if anyone has information related to these crimes, please contact Fremont County Sheriff's Department at 208-624-4482. The indictments have more details that should provide many answers to your questions. Under the law, Lori and Chad Daybell are presumed innocent while charges are pending.
Okay, again, as you stated, Charlie, that decision will be made, and obviously we'll be on top of that as well. But for folks at home who are still wondering some of those details, because they went to the grand jury, there won't be a preliminary hearing here, right? I mean, it's just we're going to go from where we are now, and then at some point, if there's no deal, we'll have a trial. And the only way we'll learn bits and pieces, perhaps, is through some of the motions that will be filed.
Exactly, Vinny. Idaho is one in about 25 states or so where if you indict by grand jury, there's no preliminary hearing. So that was a strategic move here by prosecutors, and it's, from what I hear from attorneys practicing in Idaho, it's kind of a rare maneuver for prosecutors, especially in East Idaho, how rural it is to pursue a grand jury indictment as opposed to filing by information, which is how Chad Daybell first faced those felony charges when the remains were found in his property, and we were able to go through the preliminary hearing. So you're correct. They'll have the initial appearance tomorrow. That's not an arraignment yet. That happens when it's formally transferred to district court in Idaho, which should be about 30 days from tomorrow.
All right. Folks, you think you had a busy day today? Chanley Painter's breaking this news in this huge story while she's covering the trial of Christian Rivera, the man accused of murdering Molly Tibbetts. So she's going to stay with us. When we come back, we'll switch gears and show you all the big moments, because it was the defense's turn in the case. And we were wondering, what are they going to do? Well, it looks like they're pointing the finger, at least in one place, maybe in multiple places. We'll talk about that when we return.